Ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egypt.
So, remember that old video I made reacting to the Total War Pharaoh trailer a while back? Well, it released and the reviews for the game are out now. Oof, it is not looking good. This is the lowest performing Total War release ever. Yikes. This is just sad to hear. I was extremely hyped when the teaser first dropped, and honestly, I'm still excited to play the game. It looks and sounds beautiful, I love the setting, and the promise of a return to history made my panties wet. However, the cracks were showing long before the release date. Despite being built up as this big return to the grand historical epic style of game design, on closer inspection, it kinda looked...
Lame.
I don't want this to be a review. There are already plenty of other YouTubers who have already made videos like that. Think of this more like an analysis as to why I and many others lost the hype we had for Total War Pharaoh. I still plan on buying and fully playing the game on a later date, probably after a sale and some updates. For now, I just needed to get my feelings out there. I mean, just look at how happy and innocent I was when the trailer first dropped. Oh, the misery. The first major criticism I saw against Pharaoh was its striking similarity to the previous Total War game, Troy. You know, the one with the Cyclops. Okay, I've heard it's actually not that bad, and anyway, that's not the point. Both Troy and Pharaoh take place in the Bronze Age. You heard of ancient Rome, right? Well, to them, the Bronze Age was considered ancient. It's a really fascinating time period, and I didn't mind them exploring it again in a new game, especially since the tone will be much more historical rather than mythological this time around. But it's a little too similar. The graphics are the same, the art style is the same, and several mechanics are the same. Even its focus on role-playing as a character rather than a culture is the same. For comparison, both Total War Rome 2 and Total War Attila are about the Roman Empire and released back to back. Yet they feel like completely distinct games due to different mechanics and a much darker and dirtier art style to reflect how the later game is about the start of the Dark Age. They could have done something similar for Pharaoh and Troy. Like giving it a more grounded and grittier look, make it feel more lived in. Really put the ancient in ancient Egypt. This isn't necessarily a serious issue, but it would have helped Pharaoh stand out rather than feel like a more expensive saga title. Like the other recent Total Wars, there are no plans to add naval combat. I know it's kind of a meme in the Total War community, but there's a reason why people keep asking about it. Naval battles make the game feel so much more immersive and dynamic. Without it, the game feels like it's missing something. The Sea People's invasion are the big bad endgame threat in Pharaoh, and their intro cinematic looks so badass.
I dread the day the tide might bring them back. The people of the sea.
I am digging that helmet. Look at that thing. In history, one of the main reasons why the Sea People were so devastating was due to the disruption of trade routes. Now, if I was the Pharaoh and I saw my valuable cargo get raided by these guys, I'd try to defend my trade ships by building a navy. What if I wanted to play as the Sea People? How would a ship-focused hit-and-run faction work with no playable naval battles? You guys starting to see the issue, right? Remember when in Total War 3 Kingdoms they depicted the Battle of Red Cliffs, which is one of the most iconic naval battles in human history. But since having a navy isn't a thing in that game, they instead had it be a cutscene followed up by a ground battle. Just a little reminder, the Battle of Red Cliffs was one of the largest and deadliest naval battles to ever happen. It was massive. Hundreds of ships sank and thousands of people died. All that fire and that big amphibious landing really gives me Battle of the Blackwater vibes.
Come with me and take this city!
This was all happening on a river, by the way. Bruh, it would have been so cool to actually play that battle properly. But nah, let's not make naval battles playable in our new historical game because, fuck you, I guess. When I heard sync kills were coming back, man, I was hyped. It's no secret that the recent Total War games have messy combat animations. It's been a problem for a long while. I can forgive Warhammer for this issue since they put a ton of work into bringing to life these amazing looking monsters. There are some genuinely fantastic looking kills mixed in with the clunky ragdoll physics. Think of it like a quality over quantity kind of thing. Seeing this makes me forget about how one of my orcs stabbed a guy with an axe. I'm less forgiving of Troy and Three Kingdoms though.
Minotaur! They'll bleed!
You're pathetic.
So I was very happy to see them openly advertise that making the combat look cool and realistic was a priority in this game. Let's see some of that new and cool sexy animation, shall we?
This is war. Yeah, it's looking good. Looking great. Everyone's doing a really good job. Yeah, this is Total War Pharaoh, you know? You like, what you see? You know, just little dudes, little guys doing little dude things, you know?
Meanwhile, how is it Shogun 2, a game from over 10 years ago, has better combat animations? Like bruh. I'm glad that they seem to be putting more effort into them and they seem to be on the right track. This definitely looks a little better than something like Troy, but man, this really should have been ironed out. Otherwise, this potentially great selling point ends up feeling kind of underwhelming. It's fine, but I was kind of hoping for something that would blow me away. Like, this is supposed to be the big return to history. Like, go all out, man. Who knows, maybe after an update or two, it'll look awesome. I don't know. Okay, so all the other issues I can look past. It's not good, but in the end of the day, it's not going to ruin my hype for a Total War game. Despite the issues, Three Kingdoms is still awesome, and so would Pharaoh, right? Let's see them bring to life the Bronze Age in a big epic campaign map. What? No, this can't be. There has to be more. No. Bruh. So yeah, if you haven't figured it out yet, this is what really killed the hype for me. CA decided to primarily focus on the Egyptian Civil War. Most likely so they didn't have to put in the effort to flesh out the other Bronze Age cultures. Okay, that's a little mean. They at least added the Hittite Empire too. Yeah, this map still hurts to look at. Here's a side-by-side comparison with a historical map of the late Bronze Age, just so you can know my pain. So we got no Mesopotamians and no Greeks for Total War Pharaoh. It would have added a ton of variety to the units and factions in the game. How cool would it be to conquer and explore all of the known world under one pharaoh? Actually, ancient Egypt didn't conquer anywhere near as far as Greece, so it isn't realistic to add them. Be quiet! Will we get a DLC adding them in a map expansion one day? Maybe. But imagine if we had a big map at launch, then expanded the minor cultures with DLC. It'd be the best depiction of the Bronze Age in any game ever. It would have been beautiful. Also, having a culture missing at launch just to not ever add it because of low sales is a very real possibility. Remember when people were saying we'd get a northern expansion in Three Kingdoms? Whatever happened to that? Oof. The best way I can describe my feelings on Total War Pharaoh is it's half-baked. If CA left it in the oven longer, we would have ended up with a delicious cake. The devs working on these games are undeniably talented, and what we already have looks pretty great, but without that extra polish, it just feels incomplete. Does any of this sound familiar to you? These are pretty much all the exact same criticisms I have for Three Kingdoms. That game also had an awesome setting, but was held back by the same issues. CA pushes these games out without fully putting in the time and effort to make it truly live up to its full potential. This is why I canceled my pre-order. It's like they learned nothing. Just like Three Kingdoms, I fear Pharaoh is almost certainly gonna get support cut early, and that sucks. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Pharaoh gets years worth of DLC and updates. I hope this game truly brings to life the beauty and brutality of the Bronze Age. I hope it will be remembered as a classic for years to come. And I hope one day CA brings back Three Kingdoms while they're at it too. I doubt it though.
Why, someone left this job half done! Can we fix it? Yes, we can!
Ain't nobody finishing nothing!
I'm sorry, who are you?
We are the big business owners who you work for, and we say this game is not financially viable. We're gonna have to pull the plug early, then move on to the next game like nothing happened.